As part of hospice, we're required to provide grief services, bereavement, and we saw a need within the schools.
The group was started a couple years ago by another counselor. It's a grief group to help students, and it's co-facilitated by counselors at the school as well as a social worker and a counselor through Seasons Hospice.
The kids were experiencing death of someone close to them, and they really didn't have an outlet to process that grief. And we started with one pilot school group at a high school, and it was through that group that we actually recognized a greater need, and that was where the mask idea actually came into being.
I always tell kids, keeping things in, eventually they'll come out. So if we keep them in, they're going to fester and they're going to grow and they're going to come out in other ways, in side ways that aren't so healthy.
In the back, you were saying you don't really tell people about your dad?
Only my friends that I can really trust.
Only people you can trust.
Mm-hmm.
Did they let you talk to your dad for a little bit to say goodbye?
I think the only word I said to him was, "I love you."
Technically, that's 3 words, not a word.
A sentence.
One sentence.
In the schools, as students know there's a safe place to come, to take off their mask, to talk about their grief, to be real and to share from their heart things that maybe they aren't talking about at home or that they've never shared with anyone else. There's a sense of community that develops and a sense of trust.
It's a great place to see kids being real. It's so hard for them to sometimes be real out in the hallways and in their classrooms. So you see a different side of these kids in the group.
With the kids and their masks, I'm amazed every day at the insight. You provide them with it looks like such a simple form when we give it to them. It's just this white blank slate, and the meaning that they attribute to every color, every aspect of a memory or a feeling, how they're processing their grief. These masks become not only a visual, beautiful work of art, but it becomes really a tribute to their person who died. We realized just through the simple artwork we were doing with colored pencils and paper that there was far more that we could access with these kids artistically. One of the beautiful things from the masks we did last year, we talk about all of the unfinished business, all of the I wish I would have, if only I could have, or I should have. And those students, when they went to display those on their masks, they didn't put them on the front, they put them on the back, because it's still part of the mask they wear. They're still not sure that they want to expose all of those things to the outside world.
The mask I made and the colors, they represent the flag. Like, this is the flag of Sudan. And then I put justice for Sudan, and then I put a heart that was broken in half, and then there was supposed to be a key on it, but it kind of fell off. That basically means, like, I don't let anybody see me, like, down or something. I don't like people seeing, like, me upset or crying or something like that.
This side is like before he was still here, and then this side is when he's not here anymore. I'm kind of in the middle right now, but as time goes on, I'll still switch to that side. But part of me will still be on this side because my brother's a loss that I'll never get over.
So basically, I put the pink as like love, green as happiness, and the gray as like I don't really know, like all in a big mix of emotions, and then I was intending to put it white because it was like a mix, whatever. And so then black is like, and then this is like the inside. Like I don't know what her thoughts were, but this is what I thought that she felt.
Like my dad, his dad, and his mom passed away, and I realized how he must have felt, and I realized that he must have had a mask the whole time too, because he kept strong the whole time while he was raising us, and
I feel like this is kind of like probably what he felt, like confused, and like I put the key because he always kept his feelings in. Like I put some stitches because it's like you need to be stitched up, and like the wire is to be like how he's confused, and like these are also a symbol. Like the other things are like how he's confused, and the colors just like a random thing that like he probably thought like random things in his head. And it's just like I don't know, I put a few things that about me and about him, so it's like basically both of our masks. So I made it so we can both like relate to it.
Well, the reason that I picked this kind of like blue and kind of like turquoise color is because I remember because I truly love my mom and dad, and I remember this one time we were in the store, and when my dad bought my mom some turquoise color, and turquoise in my language called firuze, and my mom's name was Firuze, and then just a bunch of like sparkly stuff and these cushions. It makes me like feel comfortable, because it reminds me like how comfortable we were like in my country when my dad was still good. I remember like it was such a nice feeling. I would go to school, come back, maybe go to my grandma's house, or like play, eat some really good food, and just hang out for the rest of the day. I think it kind of like reminds you of like they're still here, you know, like they haven't left fully, like they might have like left like after the world, but they're all still like with you.
And basically my story is that my father was diagnosed with colon cancer, which is why I used the blue cancer ribbon. And this is kind of the beginning of my story to the end, and this side represents the present. Before his diagnosis, things were kind of okay, and I describe this feeling as white because everything was happy and normal. The blue represents the tears throughout his battle with cancer, and right here, this black puzzle piece represents the dark parts that were involved with his illness. This black right here represents when he died, and the blue is kind of the scar that his death and cancer left in our lives. I also left this cross here because something important to us is Christianity and religion, especially to my father. And even though it was a dark time, the light represents that God was still there with us and moving forward, which is why the light shines this way and this way. These puzzle pieces also represent me. This represents that the dark past involved with the loss of my father. The reason this puzzle has kind of colors that are a little bit mixed up is to show that the past is kind of mixed up, and sometimes it doesn't all make sense. It is confusing to me, and there are a lot of mixed emotions, but I'm trying to move forward in the future. And this white represents that even after the death, it still has an impact in my life, and the black represents that. It's still part of me, and it's still forever going to be something hard to think about, but I'm moving forward and doing better, which is why the black is specks and not all over like when he died. The car also represents moving forward, and my dad liked driving. And this headlight is like the light that shines of him, his spirit being over us and watching, shining a light in our future.
I put sadness. I put blue for sadness and shock and disappointment because I missed my person and I was upset that he's gone. And the red is for anger, for the people who say just get over it already. And the yellow is for happiness because I know that he's in a better place.
All the random stuff up here is a bunch of confusion, and I have a heart in the middle because in the middle of all the confusion, I still love my mom. And well, down here it's kind of like, I guess, a muzzle, because when she died, I had to come here to my dad's and live with him, and I didn't really have a say in it, so it's kind of like just keeping my mouth closed. And the pink is because black and pink were like my mom's favorite color.
My father died last year in August, and my grandmother died in 2012. My grandmother's favorite color was blue, so I did a dark blue on this side to represent my past before she had died. And then this, and the black is her death and my dad's death combining together. And then the light blue is of me now after their death and how I am feeling and how the blue represents the different changes of the change that happened after their death.
So my best friend had passed away a couple months or a month before school started. Her name was Landy. She was the sweetest person I had ever met. I'd known her since kindergarten, and I was best friends with her in kindergarten. So for the piece in front of the mouth, it kind of shows that like when people ask me how am I doing or like how I'm feeling, normally instead of like saying how I actually feel, I'll just say that I'm okay, so like people don't question everything. And then the Band-Aid here symbolizes like healing and like the process of healing. There's like the red like horns here, which is like anger, but then there's like a cap that's on it, and that shows like how I'm like repressing the anger. So, and then the cogs right here don't fit together, and I did that on purpose because it shows like not everything is like working perfectly in my mind now, and it's like it's really messed up like a lot of things. So the group is like really helpful, and it's really nice knowing that there is an outlet to like let your feelings out if you can't do it elsewhere. So.
So I had lost my friend about a month ago to suicide. He had ended his life due to his parents not accepting that he was gay. And the other loss is my mom, who had passed away from ALS a couple years back. So this side depicts my mom, because she was always happy, and I mean she was the tough cookie one. And this side depicts my friend, and he was more of the mischievous one, but he really loved doing theater and dressing up. So one of his costumes one year was the devil, and I had added the key because it's said to be that the eyes are the window of the soul, and so I kind of wanted to know what was going through his head when he had committed suicide. This goes over my mask, and this is it's kind of like the cover-up or the happier side of things. And it's got all these types of colors with pink, purple, and blue, and then like sparkles and stuff. And it's just to, be kind of happy and free, not caring so much about what's going to happen. So.
My father passed away a year and a half ago in July 2nd, 2018. For me, the first off is like the face. I wanted it to be kind of neutral or normal because I feel a lot of people perceive the emotions that you have are not normal and they're not okay. And also the fact that anger is a very big issue with grief. Not a lot of people talk about it in movies and such, in media. They portray it as sadness and then you move on. But a lot of the time, people are angry and they don't know why. It's usually due to that. And then I am working right now on these little spikes here. It's gonna be a little crown. And so I'm trying to interpret that into this piece about how people who have gone through grief can still wear a crown because they're still worth it no matter what. And no matter how they act, they probably don't mean it. It's just they have so much going on and they don't know how to express it.
My grandpa was put in hospice last year, and I knew that he was going to be gone soon, but did not know when. So I was trying to prepare myself, and then it happened suddenly, and I still was not ready for it. I chose like the stormy side because my grandpa was a weatherman for KTTC, and I chose the lightning because it's connected, like he was to me and my family. And then that some days are cloudy and some days are sunny.
I lost one of my close friends and then my great-grandma a couple months ago, and I had been talking to a counselor and she recommended that I come last semester. And I'm really, really glad that I did because I met a whole bunch of new people. I made new friends and I also found a way to channel my grief, and it really needed to be channeled. I kind of made waves with the paper mache type system that we made, and it's kind of symbolic because sometimes I almost feel like I'm drowning in grief because there's just so much of it, and before this group I didn't have a way to manage it. I didn't really try to manage it, and I sometimes feel like I'm drowning, but it's almost kind of peaceful in a way. And I did the pearls because my great-grandma's name is Pearl, and I did the music notes because my friend Landy and I that passed away 6 months ago, she and I were involved in orchestra together and we shared that passion. I always felt like Landy was a very calm and almost shy person, and I feel like blue is a really good color for calm and just serene and just beautiful, really. So I did a bunch of different shades of blue because I really wanted to represent that. One of the main things I've learned at this group is that everyone grieves differently, and any way you grieve is good as long as you're not doing anything harmful to yourself or others. And it's really important to find the way that helps you express your feelings and kind of get it out there.
I think there are so many kids walking around wearing masks, and I wish more kids had an opportunity to experience a group like this.